So just before we get started, I just wanted to say we've had this fridge for 7 months and we really have tested it. We've done the Gibb River Road with it, and so you got temperatures of 40 degrees there. We've come down the coast and we're down here in Esperance at the moment where it's about 7 degrees, so it's getting pretty cool. So we tested it in extreme temperatures. With the Gibb as well, there was extreme corrugations on the Gibb and all the four-wheel driving and stuff, and so it's had some rattling stuff going through it, and it never had a problem up there. And yeah, we believe that, you know, testing a product in the first month or 3 doesn't really do it justice. It needs that long duration. So we'll always try and do reviews at that 1 year mark. That way we just hammered the product to the point where we know it will survive. If it can survive a year on the road, it's going to survive a long time. And if we have any dramas or anything like that after that year, we'll still post about it and let you guys know, because, you know, we're all about the honest reviews. So yeah, we'll just get straight into the video now. All right, here it is, guys. We've been waiting a while to do this review because we really like this fridge. This is our 3rd fridge of the trip, and it's probably going to be our last because it's just so good and we love it. What it is it's a Waeco CFX 75 litre dual zone fridge. Now, dual zone means it's got 2 separate zones, and both zones can be controlled individually, which we love. So that's dual zone. Alright, so we've had this fridge for 7 months now, and we got it up at Darwin, and we paid, it was I think $1,300, and we got it from BCF because they price matched it and all of that. So it was a really good price for the fridge, and that's why we went for it. And the cover as well, I think that's about $200 for the cover. You know, prices fluctuate and all that all the time. And I'm pretty sure this is still the current model that Waeco do, so you can always run out and grab one at the end of the review if you want. So I'll explain the dual zone features now. It's a fridge freezer. I keep mentioning fridge earlier, but it is a freezer as well, and we use it as a fridge freezer. So with dual zone, we've got one section which is a fridge, and we set that to 4 degrees. That's what's recommended in the manual. And then over here, we got the freezer, and the freezer I have set at -18 degrees. So the great thing that we love about this fridge is that, you know, with the freezer and stuff, when we go remote, we can freeze heaps of meals and meats and stuff like that. At the moment, we're at the coast, so we're not really remote, so it's just chockers full of bait and fish and stuff like that. So it's actually my fishing freezer, which Amy's not a fan of, but it is what it is. The great thing about this fridge is that you can turn the zones off. So if you don't want your freezer going, you could turn it to fridge, you could turn it to 4 degrees, and you could have 2 fridge zones. Or you can turn it off completely. You can turn each individual off completely. So if we don't want to run this half of the freezer, you turn it off. The settings are easily be able to do that. And that's another great thing that we love about this freezer. So we're going to talk about battery and how much power it uses and stuff like that, because that's a big thing when it comes to these fridges. Now, the bigger the fridge you get, the more power it's going to consume, obviously. And if you turn these fridges to freezer modes, they're going to start drawing a hell of a lot more than normal. So just be aware of that. If this was just a freezer, it would be drawing a lot of power. Now, when I say power, it draws, when this fridge kicks in, it draws 4 amps. And it'll draw 4 amps for as long as it needs to, and then it'll cut out, obviously. Now, if this was just a fridge, then it would only draw, you know, 2 amps and stuff like that. All of these details are on the Waeco website and stuff like that. For my personal opinion on the battery consumption, I'm happy with it. I've got 200 amp hours in the back here now, and I've got solar on the roof and that. Now I'll get about 2 days worth of power out of that before I need to start worrying, like if I get no solar and stuff like that. So you really do need a good solar system if you're going to run one of these. If you don't, you're really going to have trouble driving along constantly to top up your battery systems to run something like this. So just be aware that you will need a good setup to run it. Now, to save on power, so you can use less and stuff like that, let's say you're going on a camping trip and you've got this shut off completely, chuck it on 240 when you get it home, load it full of your stuff ready to go camping, and make sure it stays on 240 for as long as you can until you leave, because with 240 obviously it just acts as a normal fridge and it doesn't alter your battery system. And 240 is great because you can actually, this fridge can go to negative 22 degrees.
Wow.
Now other standard fridges can only go up to negative 18, so you could really crank that as hard as you can before you leave, and then as soon as you leave you can back it off to negative 18 or whatever you desire, you know. So that's one way you can improve on your battery consumption. So another power saving thing that you can do is, if you're running it in a, well, either mode, fridge or freezer, if you've only got half the fridge full, then you've got this void of air. Now with that void of air, the fridge, freezer will constantly try and cool that air, and it's all wasted, and it'll actually, your power consumption will increase because it's trying to freeze nothing. So always make sure you've got something in. Now for our freezer, all I've done is I filled up some Tupperware containers full of water, and this is an ice brick pretty much, and I've got 2 of these in the freezer, and I noticed a significant difference when I put them in compared to not having them. So always try and fill your freezer. With your fridge, just chuck some bottles of water in there, just anything, just to keep that cool in. Another thing as well, really simple, when you open your fridge, open it softly, because if you open it quickly, you're actually sucking all the cool air out of the fridge. So there's another tip, you can open it softly. People also, they put tea towels and stuff on top, and that also reduces that suction effect. So there's another tip. I think that's about as much tips as I can throw at this thing without going too crazy, you know what I mean? So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up with the power side. So a great feature, just touching a little bit more on the power thing, is that this fridge has an override switch, which means that in an emergency, let's say the circuitry fried or whatever, you can flick a switch, it's just down here, and it overrides, and what that does is it turns the compressor on. So it bypasses a lot of the electronics and turns the compressor on. So if you're out remote in the bush or something, you know that you can always rely, like you've always got a backup just in case. So you got to make sure that if you do flick that switch across, that compressor will stay on until you turn it off. So you got to keep, you know, watching it. But you know, Waeco, they've got a 5-year warranty, and they've got places around Australia where you can repair your stuff. So you'll always be able to fix it. You know, it's not the end of the world. We've never had to deal with Waeco's warranty. And that's why, that's one of the great reasons why I recommend this fridge, because I've never had problems with it. So yeah, now we'll just talk about, you'll see here that, you know, that's as far as our lid goes up, which is fine for us, but you've got baskets that comes with this fridge in both sections, and we can't actually lift the baskets out because of this, it's in the way. So what I do, I'll do the freezer one because that's easy. These lids, they come off. They're a little bit hard, but look at that, it just came straight off. And while I got the lid in my hand, look at the seal. Big fat juicy seal.
Wow, it looks great. Beautiful.
And now that that's off, I can have full access to the baskets. That's one basket. And then the other basket, oh, it's a bit oh, look at all that ice cream, yummy. And there's the other, geez, it smells like fish in there. And so you know, look, you know, have a look.
You know, have a look.
And like, you know, look how easy that was to just get that out. It was straightforward. Now I can get in there and I can clean it if something's spilled. There's also a drain plug, but you got to make sure the fridge is out so you can drain it. I won't drain it in there because it'll just go in the bloody bag, you know what I mean? So yeah, and in here as well, it's got a little light on both sections so you can see everything. And yeah, so that's one section. Now, what you need to know as well is that with the two sections, one section, it goes all the way down. in this other section, you can see that there's actually something, that's where the compressor sits. So you only get this much in the other section. So it's up to you if you want to make whichever one, like the fridge or the freezer. Remember when I said earlier? So yeah, I'll just chuck this back in now. Cool, so I'll talk quickly on the hinge system. You can actually, you can put the hinges and you can swap them to different sides. So it essentially opens this side. Now the advantage with that is you got the wires and the compressor on this side. So if you want to get flush with this side against something, you can swap the lids around. So the compressor's over here and it's got a nice little air void and stuff like that. So you're never confined to a certain setup with these, which is something I love. Now the handle as well, great handle, spring loaded, nice and solid bit of plastic, never have any issues with that. And put it back on, I just hit it twice, boom, done. How good's that? All right, so you know, the CFX range is pretty bog standard. You know, you can put it anywhere and you can do anything with them. They've got handles on them that are the pre-built on, and you can use them as tie downs and stuff like that. I don't actually have this thing tied in at the moment. It doesn't go anywhere because it can't, so I don't worry about using the tie downs and stuff like that. But they are pretty strong tie downs. So these CFX, these modern age CFX ones, which have the black on them, on the paint, they've actually got Wi-Fi capability. Now, for me, I don't use Wi-Fi on the fridge because I set it and I forget it, and that's it. So for me, trying to understand why you would put Wi-Fi in the fridge was a bit interesting at first, because I was like, well, it's just a waste, you know, it's just another gimmick. But there's actually reasons where it can become really handy. Now, what you have to do is you have to turn your Wi-Fi on your phone, download the app, and then pair it, obviously. And then what it does is it tells you what the fridge is. So it tells you the temperature. You can actually change the temperature on your phone, which is, I don't know, it's pointless for me because once it's set, that's it. But the great thing as well is it tells you how much, what your battery level is actually at feeding the fridge. So, which is good because if you don't have a battery monitor or anything like that, you can just look on your app and you can see roughly what your battery state is. Obviously, when this fridge is running, your battery level will say it's lower than it's not, but that's diving into another thing there. So that's what I like about that, is you can actually see your batteries set up. So while you're in the Wi-Fi app, you can actually set your battery protection. These things are really reliable when it comes to that battery protection. You got 3 different levels. You got low, medium, and high. I'd normally set mine to about medium. That's kind of the general gist. And what that does is your fridge shuts off when your battery system gets below a certain voltage, and that protects your battery system. And you know, you need that with fridges, especially this one, because you can, if you don't keep an eye on it, it can kill your battery system. So that's another great thing about the old Wi-Fi, except you can change it as well. You can change the battery cutoff on your digital display as well. So you don't need the Wi-Fi if you don't want it. What I've noticed is a lot of people are starting to, if I was to sell this fridge right now, secondhand, a lot of people want the Wi-Fi. So that in itself means that spend the extra bit of money and get the more modern one, because for resale value, it's gonna come into effect. As well, with the resale value, you wanna put these things in a bag. Now, this is a bag here, like I said, it was like 200 bucks or so. And what it does is it protects the fridge from getting scratched, for one, which is great. You can see just down here, it's been scratched a little bit already from where it's been in here. And as well, it's made out of a material that absorbs the heat and the temperature and stuff like that. And it keeps the fridge cool. So the bag's really good for the Waecos. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Would we recommend this fridge? I mean, obviously, by the way we've talked this thing up, yes, we recommend this fridge. It's an awesome fridge. And remember, I don't get paid to say that either, so you can take that with confidence. And like I said, just make sure you have a good battery system in place. If you don't have a good battery system in place, perhaps look at the models that are lower, so around the 50 litre range. They're a great freezer setup. But yeah, we do recommend it, and that's about it really. So if you like the video, you know, give us a like, give us a thumbs up and all that. And yeah, plenty more reviews to come. And if you want to check out our channel, travels, then, you know, check out the other videos. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.